prices have gone up kind of everywhere.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. The Name Your Price tool provides a range of coverage options. Progressive.com. Price and coverage match limited by state law. And by Glassdoor, announcing the best places to work in 2025 based on anonymous reviews from real employees. See who's hiring at Glassdoor.com.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio. Home prices rose in every major metro area around the country in December. That's the first time that's happened since 2022. This is according to new data from Redfin. The biggest increases were in Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. Marketplace's Samantha Fields has more.
It's not exactly what most would-be homebuyers want to hear. Prices just keep going up. Chris Salviati at Apartment List says with mortgage rates stubbornly high and inventory stubbornly low,
demand starting to shift to some of these Midwest markets. You know, those are some of the last bastions of housing affordability in the U.S.
A few years ago, prices were shooting up the most in Sunbelt cities, in Texas and Florida, that at the time were still relatively affordable. Daryl Fairweather at Redfin says today,
people still are moving to Florida, but it's more expensive now than it used to be, which limits how much prices can grow.
But in the Midwest, home prices are still low relative to the rest of the country. Take Cleveland.
The median sale price is $229,000, which makes it more possible for prices to rise 15% because they're rising from such a low level.
But it's not just the Midwest. Prices are rising everywhere. Chris Salviati says a lot of people have been holding off buying for a while, hoping mortgage rates would come down.
And now that we haven't seen those rates really move in a significant way, you might be seeing some folks just getting acclimated to what the new rates are.
And deciding I might as well just go for it. I don't want to wait forever. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
More than 30,000 people were under evacuation orders Wednesday as a new wildfire swept through a mountainous area that borders California's Los Angeles and Ventura counties. That fire has burned more than 10,000 acres, but has not damaged or destroyed any buildings or homes, according to reports so far. Fires can, of course, move very quickly. That one did, which means information has to move very quickly and accurately. Over the last few weeks, one app that has emerged as particularly helpful is called Watch Duty. It collects updates from emergency responders and then maps the fires and evacuation zones all in one place. And it uses quite a bit of actual human reporting. My colleague Megan McCarty-Carino spoke with David Merritt, Watch Duty's chief technology officer, about how it works.
So we're actually a mix now of paid staff reporters and volunteers. The reporters collect information, listen to radio. When we say reporters, the person writing the reports that and updates that get to your phone. But there's a huge team of volunteers that help support that. You know, during these LA fires, you know, there were at one point like 5 concurrent fires that all needed pretty prompt attention. And that's a lot. It's, you know, we had people sleeping not a lot, sleeping in shifts, even with a big team.
So this is really a pretty manual effort, it sounds like. It's not like you're just pulling data sets from, you know, other sources or, you know, populating data with automated systems.
It's very, very manual. And it's an interesting partnership between technology and, you know, human reporting.
You can hear more of that interview on Marketplace Tech at our website, marketplace.org. Let's do the numbers. Dow futures are up 36 points. That is less than 1/10%. NASDAQ futures are down 0.5%. S&P futures are down 0.1%. And the yield on the 10-year Treasury is at 4.622%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Clear Channel Outdoor, an out-of-home billboard company harnessing innovation and technology to connect advertisers with consumers. Billboardsforbusiness.com. And by The Economist, devoted to providing independent journalism that makes sense of the news shaping the world. More at economist.com or with The Economist app, newsletters, and podcasts.
A particularly contagious strain of bird flu continues to spread on farms nationwide. Tens of millions of chickens have been culled as a result. And as we've been reporting, that sent the cost of eggs skyrocketing. Last month, a dozen eggs at the grocery store cost more than $4 on average, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is about double the price from a year ago. Daniel Ackerman has more.
George Ohanessian co-owns Heidi's Restaurant, a breakfast diner in Waltham, Massachusetts. These days, he's spending less time at the grill than he'd like, because he's been busy.
Finding eggs. They're very expensive. They're hard to find.
Ohanessian spent the morning traveling from one egg wholesaler to the next. It's been hit or miss.
And when you get somewhere and they don't have them, they're like, okay, where do I go next? It's been very hard. It's been very hard.
He's paying almost 3 times more for eggs than he was just a few months ago. And he says he can't pass that on to his customers.
It's a family restaurant, and we try and keep everything affordable so we can keep our customers happy. But I just don't, I don't know what to do sometimes.
There's not much he can do, because right now, there just aren't enough chickens laying eggs, says Brian Moscaggiore, vice president at the wholesaler Eggs Unlimited.
A general rule of thumb is that we need about 1 bird to every person in the country. Right now, I think we have about 340 million people in the United States.
That's compared to around 300 million egg-laying hens after the recent flu outbreaks. Moscaggiore says that means
we've never seen prices this high before.
Moscaggiore sells eggs to retail stores, and he says a scarcity mindset among some shoppers can make matters worse.
I'm a consumer myself, right? And if I go to the store and I see large dozens at $2.99, limit 2, I'm probably going to grab 2 dozen as opposed to 1 dozen. And I think, in some cases that creates more demand at some of these chains.
And it's not clear when more supply will come online. Emily Metz is CEO of the American Egg Board, a trade group for egg producers, and she says it takes time for egg farmers to get up and running after an avian flu outbreak.
We have to humanely euthanize those birds to prevent their suffering.
Then there's sanitization of the farm, state and federal approvals of that sanitization.
And then we have to bring in new birds, and those birds have to mature to a point that they're starting to lay eggs. That's a 6 to 9 month process. So unfortunately, it's not a switch that can be flipped.
Metz says a recovery in egg supply can only happen through a prolonged period with no new avian flu outbreaks on farms. That's something the industry is still waiting for. I'm Daniel Ackerman for Marketplace.
And I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From 8 p.m., American Public Media.